In the core-to-core matchup, it can feel better for the PL, but I don't think the Gyrocopter is completely shut out. Motivate.Trust also going to the Ember Spirit to handle those illusion spam. So they've got this highly mobile here for Fearless once more on mid. They can just go for a Maelstrom build, look to melt the illusions with Sleight of Fist, and that does kind of handle your PL problem. So I love that Motivate.Trust does go for the Gyro, as we were kind of theory crafting going in. Gyro can hit that flash farming pace. It can have really strong presence in lane, even with just a homing missile. You have a lot of physical output going for flak plus stats if you go that route, and that you can still play aggressive. You can clear out stacks a lot quicker, and it's just comfier for Jack to play something like the Gyro. And the key thing now is his item buildup. Jackie, as a player, a couple of times you've seen him play Gyro, does go for a Dragonlance disassembly into Ags, then back to Dragonlance disassemble into BKB. So he's not the type to go for the Crystallis Rush, but that is generally just Palace. So he'll go for the more bog standard route. I think that does make sense, especially when you're playing against something like the PL. You do want to build up some stacks, go from there. The aggression will have to come out from Fearless on the Ember. And looking at that Ember, it doesn't look like too tough of an Ember game. There's not much good lockdown from SMG. They've got Magic Missile, which you can dodge. They've got the Elder Titan Stomp, which you can also dodge. And Bloodseeker Silence as well doesn't have the best setup. So to catch something slippery like the Ember here is going to be a bit of a tall ask for SMG.
No, absolutely. See what they do kind of get to be able to catch this Ember this game. Definitely feels like a very free Ember game so far. Mind you, the last pickup left for SMG is going to be that mid lane for Moon. And we saw last game around, Moon was doing a great job on that Leshrac. Just he died once early on, and that got me a little bit concerned for SMG, but was able to kind of trade back with Fearless, take his life, and well, obviously after that, it was kind of all she wrote. They just kind of steamrolled and just bulldozed over the side of Motivate.Trust with their draft. SMG, what do you want to give to Moon this game? I mean, you don't really have the Spirit Brothers left unless you want the Earth Spirit, but you know, it's Earth Spirit. Probably not going to see that happen.
Yeah. No, it's been a while since we've seen Earth Spirit mid. They do close out with the Shadow Fiend instead, so it gives him really good damage, right? You can go for a physical build or a magic build with, say, Ewolts, and Arcane Blink is the one way to go for the magic. The right click tends to be like Crystallis and Desolator down the line with your talent up as well. So you can kind of flex around to build up the Shadow Fiend. It doesn't quite give you the control you're looking for. The Ember can still kind of dodge around, dodge your spells, unless you go for that Eul's build. So that's the only stable way of locking in the Ember, going for Eul's Requiem. But that isn't a build we've seen a lot of players actually opt for. When we see the SF, it's almost always physical. So I'm wondering if they're going to focus on that aspect. Just go for Eul's to set up Requiem for the fear and control and damage onto the Ember and the teamfight aspect of it, or if they're just going to go right-click build anyway. I think if they do go right-click, you've got Venge Aura with the wave coming through, so there's a lot of minus armor there. You have the Elder Titan with his aura as well, dropping the base armor down, so you can go into negatives really quick with this lineup. But it's still a lack of control. Like, unless the Shadow Fiend actually does go for Eul's, I don't know how you keep this Ember Spirit locked in at all.
It's a good point, John. I mean, you're kind of relying on the Eul's into the Requiem, or maybe a nice stomp from the Elder Titan into the Requiem. That could certainly do the job. We'll find out. I mean, definitely seems like a great Ember game thus far. Especially once you get to the point where you have the Ags up and you've just got so many remnants available. It's just so hard to catch this man. Motivate, though, last pickup. Is it going to be another support? Or is it going to be something weird like a position 4 or 5 Tidehunter along with an offlane here for Motivate is my question. We have been seeing that support Tidehunter pop up occasionally, and it does do some work. Basically does the same thing an offlane Tide would do, except it's not quite as tanky. But you still just kind of get a nice Ravage off, and that's your job done for the team. But even during the lane, just having that gush is quite nice. And oh my goodness.
You called for the support Tide.
Yeah.
And we are having the Mastros Ember. Alright, so Mastros takes the Ember Spirit in the offlane. Fearless is like taking that in the Tinker. Yeah, they've done it a couple times. They've done the Mastros Storm Spirit on offlane. Of course, they do the Void Spirit. Ember Spirit might be a bit more of a stretch, but they seem to love giving Mastros all the Spirit Brothers if they don't want it on Fearless. So they will get that flex out. Tinker. No words.
No.
We've got a Tinker game. It's
You know what
it's
really
something.
annoyed me? What really annoyed
Yeah.
me today? We had a new patch come out. And I was happy because I thought to myself, and I saw even Jenkins tweeting out this morning, Tinker is completely busted, which, everybody kind of already knows that part. And then a new patch came out a few moments later. Thought to myself, great news. We've got a new patch. 100% Tinker's going to get nerfed to the ground. I mean, there's no way they don't destroy this hero and send him back into the abyss where he belongs. But long behold, John, I did a bit of reading, put my reading glasses on. Mana cost for rearm reduced from 130, 210, 290 to 150, 225, 300. So essentially, at level 1, it's down by 20 mana. Big deal, because he can always TP back to the fountain and get a reset anyway. And on top of that, the rockets got nerfed by, 10 damage per level? 10 damage. That's what we got, John. That was the nerf. 10 damage.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it matters. Like, he's got unlimited spam. I don't think 10 damage is really going to be that impactful of a nerf here. I suppose I could be wrong, and perhaps Motivate.Trust may show us that the hero is kind of weak, but Fearless is apparently a level 25 Tinker, which does make me very sick. I might have to unfriend him after this game, knowing that. But level 25 Tinker, we'll see. We'll see if the nerfs mattered.
Yeah, I think going down to the draft here, it feels like Motivate.Trust does have a better draft. It is a bit greedy, mind you. Like, you've got Tinker, Ember, and Gyro. I mean, the Ember to an extent doesn't need too much farm, but a Tinker and a Gyro definitely need a lot of farm to get running. So we'll see how much they can get done. There's still the issue of control lacking from SMG to catch out Masarosa's Ember Spirit. So we'll see if they can try to get a handle of what the build-up is for Moon. Is he going to opt for the Yules? Is he going to opt for the right-click build we tend to see on SFs? That's really going to set the pace. If they go Yules, they'll have hold. If they don't go Yules, keeping Masaros locked in is going to be a tall order. And they have to find a way to rip through the backline, because if Fearless manages to get that blink timing up, they don't really have the best catch for a Tinker.
Oh, here we go. Mid one. Don't run up that staircase, because you're not going to like what you see. He'll go for the doppel level 1 and try to make his way out. Do they have the control? Apparently they don't. They can't finish the job, and now Masaros is in trouble. They'll try to turn this one around, SMG. They are on the chase. Mid 1 is perfectly safe, as now it looks like Motivate. They're the ones in trouble. As Arfu, he's going to drop a little bit low, but Masaros is still the one in danger. KP able to take the first blood. And SMG off to a great start in this game too.
Yeah, they dive a bit deep on Motivate.Trust side. They don't manage to get the kill they were looking for, and it's a level 1 Shadow Fiend. Even if it's just level 1 Raise, once you stack 2 of those spells up, the damage output is pretty sickening. They do manage to make it so that there's not enough mana for Moon to actually stay in the lane, so he's going to have to TP in, but it's not really matter. Raji blocks the lane off, and we will see that mid lane of Tinker versus SF. Fearless on the Tinker should have a okay time against the Shadow Fiend. You can play with a laser to clear out the creep wave. The spill damage does make it easy to kind of wave clear. At the same time, you're very vulnerable to the raise spam of Moon. Once the bottle flies in on the SF, once he hits, say, a level 3 timing, Moon should be able to just take control of lane, really just play with the raises. He doesn't care about the blind on the laser and should just be able to constantly harass out Fearless. And this is going to lead to a slower game for Fearless. Even if he hits level 6 fast, we know he loves to toss his body around. But the Tinker, even with that keen conveyance, without the blink, you can't really put yourself in a good spot to spam your spells out.
No, certainly not. You know what does make me happy about this mid matchup, John, is it's so old school. In fact, hold that thought, because KP's going to drop bot lane. Jackie able to pick up the kill there on the side of Motivate. But that mid lane matchup, like, it's such an old school matchup, right? Like, you remember 10 years ago, Dota All-Stars? This is the Tinker vs SF is something you'd see so often.
Oh yeah, and well, the big difference is you don't have March now, right? So you have to play with the laser rocket build, which is a lot more interesting and does lead to more aggression. Again, it just boils down to how much Fearless can get out and whether or not he will play aggressive by the 6 mark. Like, he should join in with the rockets, but it is a bit hard to get your positioning right. Still gives us a chance to look at the last game top. Masteros does drop too low and is foiled down. Just a pause 5 from Raji doing a lot of work with the damage out of the mid one, spamming out the lances. Even Q's not quite safe here.
Oh yeah, Q's gone. Nice setup there from mid one and Raji. Masteros on that offlane Ember going down, and mid one able to pick up his first kill of the game on the PL now. Very happy, and all things being said and done, Masteros is ahead in terms of CS. But that is somewhat to be expected, as now he'll try to run down mid one. In the meantime, Arfu does end up securing a kill onto set 0 with the Elder Titan. So a lot of action across the map already, but it is a 1-4 in the favor of SMG.
Finding a lot more of that aggression come true, and I think as the levels go up, it's gonna look a lot better for SMG as well. And despite that lack of control, as long as they keep getting these pickoffs from their lanes, they can apply pressure. And once they do start finding some tier 1 towers, once the map shrinks, Motivate.Trust has to get farm out for a Tinker and a Gyrocopter. It's just a lot of greed from 2 positions there, and it could be a bit hard getting the item scaling you want here.
Top lane, Earth Spike does not land on Raji. Masteros still chasing him down with the Flame Guard, but he cannot keep up. Raji just too fast with the passive. Even gets a bounty rune on his way out, and he might just die to the tier 2 tower. Real shame, as they had that kill guaranteed with an Earth Spike, but it was just off the mark from Q.
Yep. Does manage to get a lot there, Raji, with that life. And while he's running around, that does free up space for mid one to keep farming up in the PL. And the PL here, again, as you mentioned, Masteros is ahead in CS, as you'd expect. Ember Spirit has better ways of clearing out the creep wave, has a lot of early damage to play with. But you're not completely shutting down mid one. He's still having a better time than Jackie on the Jar in terms of farm, and that's not quite the situation you want to find yourself on Motivate.Trust. You do want Jackie to start getting a lot more and start building up in the jungle down the line. There's not been enough room for Motivate.Trust to also build up stacks, so flash farm for the Gyro might be a bit slower in this game.
Certainly will be. You even saw bot lane, like Arfu's been applying so much pressure onto set 0 this game. Even gets a nice salve cancellation as he was trying to run his way out. And top lane again, they're going to try and get aggressive. Masteros, he's onto mid one. Force the doppelganger out, but that's about all he's going to get. Salve eventually is going to be committed there by Raji onto mid one. And although Masteros is still farming really nicely on the Ember, he's not really the win condition here for Motivate.Trust. So, CS is nice and all, but it is concerning, at least for Motivate, that mid one is outpacing and out-farming Jackie. Is now Masteros. He's going to move back in onto Raji. Raji's going to be fine. In fact, he'll throw a Blood Ride out. Masteros very low in terms of HP at the moment, and very little regen to speak of. In fact, Q doesn't have any either. They're kind of stuck here with no regen left apart from that bottle on Masteros, but Doppel is out. Mid one going to move in. Q, he's going to try and juke out the Blood Rite, but eventually mid one should have his way with him. On the right side, however, Masteros is going to chase down Raji. Won't get him, but they do get Q. Mid one, he'll TP out. And while that was happening, bot lane, Jackie ends up going down to KP.
Sides of SMG, again, they're working the side lanes well. As long as they keep finding those initial kills, they slow down the initial farm pace of Motivate.Trust. It's going to be hard for them to start building up. And that is the weakness of Motivate.Trust. Their laning phase just doesn't feel great. The pause 5 tide of set 0. The Gyrocopter in some ways makes sense, because Gush minus armor with a physical output of a Gyro does sound good. It doesn't lead you to much control. It doesn't really allow you to save the Gyrocopter if it is jumped. The only lane that's maybe going smoothly for Motivate.Trust is mid, but even then, Fearless is like half the value of CS compared to Moon, just by nature of SF having so much better wave clear compared to the Tinker laning phase. For a Tinker, laser is great, it splash damages, but it's just not the same as a bunch of raises on the creep wave.
No, it's like you said. I mean, this mid lane is a complete wash here for Moon. He's just so far ahead in terms of CS right now. In fact, he's doubling up the Tinker. So Fearless, he's going to start rotating over to the top lane where they might find mid one, but they can't get the laser off in time. So mid one, he will just doppel out, and Raji's just going to walk away. So rotation doesn't really mean anything, and to make matters worse, John, Fearless is only level 5, so he doesn't have the TP available. Yeah,
it's slow going. I think he was hoping to find a pick off, hit the 6, TP back home, reset, go mid, and keep farming. Look at the comparison though. Moon, he's got the invis. He's going for a chase here.
They just need the stomp to set up for the raises. He's going to throw them out now. Jackie already losing so much HP. The stomp is not going to land. Very, very nice there from Jackie to just avoid that stun. They do spot out the stacks that were being made in that Radiant jungle, and you can see Arfu just ensuring that Jackie does not get to farm any camps on his way home. He just has to go right back to the fountain. In the meantime, Masaros, he's been silenced up, still level 5, and Rogi, he'll keep the chase up to get the vision and get the damage out. But we'll pay respects to Masaros unless that stomp can come in, but no, Arfu. He was short on mana, he had to go for the mango. And the timing, it was just too much.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
They are
KP?
trying to get the rest of them.
They are, but looks like KP, he's going to be just fine. They even turn around for a bit of damage out onto set 0.
Just not able to really do much with the Gyrocopter Tide combination yet. Perhaps once they have Ravage, they can start to look a little bit further. They do have level 6 up in Fearless, so if they do find an opportunity, the Keen Conveyance is there. He can kind of make his way forward to dish some damage out. Still a bit slow going for a Tinker. Again, still lagging behind in the CES. Net Word is also not a very good spot for him as he's lagging behind Moon. And the rest of SMG is having a really good time, but at least you have Jackie and Monster sitting the top spot. Still, Jackie, you might get in a bit of a tough spot here.
Oh, they've got to stop this time, and Moon, he has the Requiem up, but they won't be able to hold him down long enough. Oh, never mind though, Magic Missile is there from KP, and they'll even find the courier of Jackie. So another great kill onto the Gyrocopter here from SMG. And Motivate.Trust, at least thus far, are not having a very good time during this game too.
Yeah, they're still finding farm, but the aggression is coming through from SMG. Their lineup does hit really fast pace. Again, they're playing really well with the limited control they have. They're not even focusing on the Ember. The Ember's a non-factor, so they don't need to worry about that lack of instant control. They're just abusing the Wave of Terror, abusing the physical output of Moon and the magic damage as well.
Oh, set 0. Yeah, he's been scouted. Bye-bye, set 0. Moon will take another kill onto the SF. Very, very happy SF game so far for Moon as he does continue to work on towards that Yule Scepter. And that bottom tier 1 tower not going to be lasting very long with this SF around. It's Motivate. They could try to trade tier 1s and it looks like they are going to slowly attempt it. But they haven't got the greatest draft for it at all.
It's... I think the issue for Motivate.Trust is not only do they need to keep farming on their Gyro, they need levels on their Tinker, right? Like, a level 1 rearm, the channel time's so bloody long. Level 2 is not much better. It's by level 3 at 18, but that can feel more, and it's still a long ways until you hit that spike for Fearless. So he has a lot of farm, a lot of EXP to gain, and it's going to be a slow process until Motivate.Trust does hit that big spike with the Tinker at the very least. The Gyrocopter can hit some good farming spikes, so can Masaros. I think until that point, it's almost going to feel like a 4v5 for most of the game here.
It certainly will be. I mean, Masaros trying to farm and take some camps off mid one. It's going to find Arfu, but Stomp's going to be cancelled. So Masaros backing off at the right time. Mid 1, very close now to the Diffusal Blade timing. It's going to be great timing as well for this PL. He's top of the net worth board, 4.3k net worth, followed by KP, and it's one of those things, when you get the early Diffusal up on the PL, it's very easy to start joining your team and just start fighting, snagging a few kills and backing off. In fact, we might see right now onto the Lion Q. He'll get a decent Earth Spike off. Is it going to be enough? Not quite. Mid 1 able to take another kill on this Phantom Lancer. His 3rd of the game, and will Motivate still yet to find their footing.
Again, they're just trying to take farm where they can. At the very least, they only lose the support. So it's not a massive loss from Motivate.Trust. Their force is still farming up at some space they desperately need to get out. But for Motivate.Trust, I think the one thing that is holding them back is that they can't really force a clump up compared to SMG, where just a couple of your heroes together can force a kill thread. And the same impact doesn't come out from Motivate.Trust. Not until more farm is up, not until more levels are up. And that just means SMG can always force the engagements as they see fit. They're not quite playing ultra aggressive. They are 6 kills up, 3 to 9. They are still getting good balance of aggression and farm going through. As you mentioned, PL's up there. KP is slowly building into his Ags. Moon is going for the Eul's build. So our SF is going to have the Eul's. They're going to have a stable way of locking in that Ember down the line. And it is a throwback to the Magic build, which we haven't seen from the SFs in a while. So we'll see if that emphasis does come true to just hold Masters down with a good Eul's Requiem combo.
Smoke up though, Motivate. Just Q and set 0, but they have the Ravage, they have the Finger, and they want to get them on cooldown. Especially if they can find a big pick off like mid one, and he might run right into them right now. Ward down Q, he sees mid one, gets the Hex off. They need those disables ASAP. Earthspike's gonna be there, Finger out, and there's your Ravage. No second guessing, just right into it. Unfortunately though, Masteros lost his courier in the meantime.
Yeah, and I believe that had parts of his Maelstrom up, so he's not going to have the full Maelstrom locked in for a while. That could cost him like a 30 seconds of where he could have had it earlier, and that's going to be a bit of a window for SMG if they want to force some aggression in that downtime. They know Ravage is down, so they could definitely take a bigger team fight without worrying about the team fight control of Motivate.Trust. And again, they've got that Eul's up on Moon, so they've got the Requiem setup they need to lock in a hero like Masaros' Ember.
Masaros. Rupture out, he'll just remnant away, but mid one, he was waiting at the exact right position. Hand up. Masaros, no high fives from him. As mid one, he'll take another kill on the PL. Some sweet, sweet revenge after that last death.
Yeah, that does. Again, give a lot more towards SMG. For Motivate.Trust, just trying to get space out, trying to be greedy. Arachi though.
Yeah, he's quite deep. Moon, gonna move in. Yule Scepter out. He's on Jackie. Requiem gonna be channeled onto set 0, but the damage really wasn't there. Cooldown's still going. They might be able to force the fight. Motivate trying to move in for the stuns out. Moon, he will back off the right moment, but the rockets are coming in and it will be enough. As KP, he will try to run as well, but it will be no good. Masaros able to claim the kill. They'll get a 2-for-0 trade in that mid lane. Definitely great news here for Motivate.
They finally start to find some bigger wins. They get the big kill on the SF. That's the one thing with the Eul's Requiem buildup. It does feel like you don't get the full effect of that unless you're right under the Eul's target. Sometimes just can't gap close. It does feel like maybe a blink is going to be necessary here for the Moon down line. He is trying to save for blink BKB. It is still a ways off. So mid-tier 1 falls for Motivate.Trust. They get to get control of the mid lane a bit easier. They can keep that constant invasion of the jungle without worrying about too much of a response now from SMG, or less of a response coming through. And that does allow them to stall the game out. You look at the build-up here on Fearless on his Tinker. Blink is up. He's working towards the overwhelming blink, which was readjusted. You know, like the initial scaling. It's higher on the strength side, less of a bonus flat value. So on some heroes it can be better. I think on the Tinker it's going to feel a little less strong, but it's still a good item to pick up depending on the pace. And Motivate.Trust are doing a good job of avoiding most of these engagements with their big cores. Like the Tinker doesn't need to show up in a dangerous spot. The Gyrocopter doesn't need to be in a dangerous spot. They just play on their side of the river, have Masaros do what he wants running around, and just keep stalling.
The bot lane looks like they were trying to go on to Masaros, but he does remnant away. You know, the cute thing about this, in fact, hold that thought, because Moon now might just get jumped. Chains are out. Masaros, he'll give all the vision for his Tinker to keep spamming up those rockets, but now the teammates are coming in. In fact, Rupture is out. They're going to go right after the Tinker instead, and they've got him. Fearless, still trying to survive, but eventually the rays will fly in from Moon. There's now Masaros. He's going to find his own way out. Looks like he is screwed though. Magic Missile will land, and that'll be enough as now the Earth Splitter flies through. Q will be targeted by mid one, but instead Diffusal Blade is out on Jackie, and they might just go for a dive. Jackie gonna get swapped right back into the loving arms of Moon and mid one. Ravage is there, but they've already lost their carry. They'll try to trade with the Earth Spike. It's only gonna land onto KP. Doesn't land onto mid one, and that'll mean the PO just runs away scot-free.
They get the punishment in that engagement. They play a bit forward there on the side of Motivate.Trust. And they're taking a bit of a risk up against me. You were saying something before it broke out. What's cute? What's cute about this?
Oh, what was cute, John? You notice Masros has a bottle and you've got Fearless with a bottle. So I've been noticing Masros, every time Fearless is around, he'll empty his full bottle out. He'll trade bottles with Fearless because he's going back to the fountain.
Oh.
And they keep refilling the bottles for each other. It's a cute little romance between Fearless and Masros, just helping each other out.
Yeah, that is adorable, and that does play into Fearless and Masters, their dynamic. And they take that B1, B2 position, Bananas and Pajamister. They're like two peas in a pod that somehow are always stuck at the same MMR range as well. I think that's what bugs them the most.
Not only
But,
that, John,
yeah,
you
it's great to see
mistook
that.
them yesterday. You
Yes,
even
exactly
mixed
it.
them up.
Because I'm so used to them just playing around with each other's names. I'm like, all right, Fearless and Master, it's just equal signed in my head.
Roger gonna drop here on the Bloodseeker. Getting a little bit concerned. I mean, there's been a lot of missed Earth Spikes this game. And that was another one. Not really sure what's happening with Q, but you've got to be able to land these stuns. Otherwise, it could cost you kills against this PL. As now Masteros gonna move in, but Remnant right back after the magic missile was thrown out by KP. So currently, a very close kind of net worth gap between the two. Just 1k in the favor of SMG. Is there any kind of big timings we're looking out for from either of these teams here, John?
For Motivate.Trust, it's Jackie hitting, say, BKB, and I think a Satanix can do wonders here, but Jackie is trying to save her Maelstrom instead, so he wants a way to keep clearing out those PL illusions as well. Help out Masteros with his own Maelstrom.
Chains out.
Big one as well.
Never mind, you go on, John. Masteros, he's just playing games.
Yeah, it's that lack of control again, right? Like, it's an Ember. Their best hold is still just yields Requiem. We haven't seen the full effect of that yet from Moon. Speaking of Moon, talking about Motivate.Trust, for SMG, once the BKB and Blink is up on Moon, that's when you can really start ripping through. And man, he's just harassing Raji. Masteros just keeps looking for Raji, gets the chains. He's down to like 120 HP. He just wants to slowly whittle away at the Bloodseeker.
Look at this. There you go, Fearless. Thank you very much. Take the bottle back. Masteros. Is he going to empty the bottle? No, Fearless is in fact letting him drink from his own bottle. So there you go. They keep switching it up, and it's really just fun to watch. As now bot lane, KP and Arfu. Now they're going to back off. Just an Earth Splitter out. Bit of a threat there towards Masteros. But I'll tell you what, he's been very annoying in this off-lane Ember. Just keeps chipping away. Like you mentioned, he's always targeting Rogi on the Bloodseeker because he is probably the easiest target he could go for. And just remnants every single time. And they can't actually lock him down. In fact, maybe now they can with Moon around with the Yule Scepter up. Masteros, can you get out of this one? There's your Yule's out. Bloodright, Requiem, all going to be thrown out and he will be punished. There you go, tips out from Moon. They finally got him.
Yeah, just playing a bit too far forward. Doesn't respect that Yules. He knows it's there. He knows it's been there for a while. They do finally get that kill. That's still like 4 heroes held down bot by 1 hero. So it's a lot of time they had to invest to kill off the Ember. Meanwhile, the rest of the map's being held by Motivate.Trust. They are TPing in for this fight, though.
I mean, you're pushing into a Tinker. It's at that stage now where this Tinker's going to be very annoying to push into. Even without the overwhelming blink up, you know, just rocket spam is more than enough to try and force you back. Instead, though, they're going to head over to the mid lane. Smart choice here from SMG. Easy mid tier 1 tower.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And Motivate, they can't really do much about it. They've just got to let it go down.
This does open up the triangle a bit for SMG, so they can go ahead and build some camps away. Maybe start to think about Roshan. Control on the map is relatively even, with 2 tier 1s taken from both sides. So you still have a dire advantage for Rosh because of the outpost. They are starting to drop some wards, not quite ready to go for it fully, but
They've got KP, but he's got the Axe up. Like, he'll always have that secondary life with a Remnant. I think Missile is going to land. I suppose they could keep chasing forward, but Yules is out onto Masteros. Stomp. Not going to be there. Instead of magic missile, but now a big ravage sets 0. He's got the blink up on the tide already, so he's just jumped in and cleans up KP and Moon. Ruptures there on Jackie. They might be able to try and trade here as the gyrocopter already so darn low and is eventually going to drop as now Rogi just keeps chasing forward. Mid one's going to join in. Who do they go after? It'll be right after that Tinker as Fearless, he just gets demolished by mid one. It's a 4-for-2 trade. They got the initial 2 kills, but after that it was all SMG.
Yeah, it's down to the fact that Jackie can't actually just stand and fight. He doesn't have lifesteal, he doesn't have a BKB, and he's not queuing up lifesteal. Again, he's going back for BKB and Maelstrom. So it's not going to be Satanic up. That means as long as he hit the gyrocopter, eventually he will die. And they do have good damage coming through from SMG. Mid one can still just rush in with the defusal, melt through that gyrocopter, and Motivate.Trust doesn't have a big answer. So they find a couple of good kills, but they lose the rest of the team. And that definitely opens up Roshan here for SMG. And there's also a double damage rune on the bottom rune spot. They aren't going to be able to take it, but Moon has it up for the next fight at least. First rush of the game will go the way of SMG. And Motivate.Trust, they haven't been able to really take care of mid one in a while now. They killed him once early on in the game. Since he picked up this Manta and Defusal, he has not really been easy to catch out, and it's all the pressure on really Q. Like, this line has to get the good blink initiation in to catch him out, and if they can't, feel it's going to be an issue.
Oh, Requiem not going to land this time on Masaros. Does get the Remnant away just in the nick of time. So at least you do waste that spell, but I don't think SMG are too concerned about that as they have found Q. On the top side of the map, Set Zero is going to try and help out, but they've already lost the Lion. They might be able to find something for their trouble as Fearless. He's going to start spamming rockets out for mid one. He just gets right to work. No playing games here for mid one. They get 2 kills once again.
Radiant's top tower
SMG, they just continue to dominate this second map. 6k net worth lead now for SMG. You look at Jackie on the gyro, he's still struggling to keep up in terms of farm. Uh-oh. Fearless. Split her out. It's going to be a lot of damage, and he is very low on mana now. He's got no way out. He's gone. Mid one. He'll leave the kill. Is that balance? I would argue it's not, but it won't matter. Because SMG, they are dealing with Fearless very well this game.
SMG are playing just so clean. They're getting the control out in the heroes they need to. They've punished the greed on Motivate.Trust, and they're just keeping that aggression up now. They've got the BKB running in Moon. Mid one is very well protected with the Manta plus Ultimate Orb. And
Masaros should be okay this time. No Requiem there to lock him down with the fear. Fu, however, Rod of Atos into the stomp, and they've got plenty of stun this time around with the silence out. Can he make it away? Not quite. Lance is there from mid one. A mega kill streak now on the PL. Motivate.Trust. They're struggling quite heavily here, John. SMG, they might go high ground. They're going to try.
They've got the Aegis still running. The defense of Motivate.Trust, I mean, it's still a tinker into the high ground, so there's the rocket spam, there's the laser spam that can come through, there's a ravage that can come out as well from Set Zero if he finds the angle. It can be a bit of a risk, but without the march of machines on top, it does feel like it's a bit easier to deal with Tinker now.
He's got his BKB up with the Ags. He's going to be alright, but that's his BKB down, so SMG, they might keep going. Rod of Atos is there. They found Q again on the Lion, and he's gone. He cannot survive the raise damage from Moon. It's SMG. They might switch up the lanes a little bit, or maybe not. Siege creep in the mid lane. Why not just go back in?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Again, there's still a ravage here for Motivate.Trust if they want to, and there's still the constant rockets flying out. But it just doesn't feel like the same sort of high ground defense of Tinker of old. With March of the Machines running on top as well, just rockets alone isn't enough to keep a team back, and they lose their tier 3. The racks will hold for a bit longer, but SMG are still in position to kind of punish anyone that oversteps here.
They are. Just trying to keep everyone back. In the meantime, Jackie's going for that split push down to the bot lane. You know, he desperately needs that farm. In fact, a very interesting item choice here for Jackie. He's gone back for the Maelstrom build-up. And I suppose it's one way to not only keep the lanes pushed out a little bit faster, but deal with the
Dire's
illusions
bottom
of
tower
mid
is
one.
under attack.
But mid one's working towards a hard up now. And that Maelstrom, I don't know if it's going to be enough here against the PL. Not to mention, it is going to slow down the timing of the Daedalus and Satanic. See how it works out as they're going to go back high ground. SMG feeling very confident now, but won't push their luck too far. KP, he's going to be just fine. Motivate, they will still continue to struggle as they hold on to this mid-racks.
It's been slow going for Jackie. That Maelstrom, he's been queuing up for this entire game. Like that BKB build-up into Maelstrom's been, what, about 17 minutes on since he had it queued up. It just feels like he's going to need the Satanic now. I get that he wants to clear out the illusions, clear out the waves a bit quicker, but with no ability to stand there and get his hits off, Moon and mid one will just be able to overwhelm him. Like you've got the Ags up, you've got the side gunner to help you sustain, but without a source of lifesteal, you don't have much presence. I think that's something that we're lacking on this Gyro, and it's going to take a lot longer because he's still waiting for some initial pickups.
He's in, Requiem's out, Set Zero is gone. He does have buyback, and he might need to commit because he's got the Ravage up right now, and his team might need it. Aegis does expire, but Fearless, he's been caught. Buyback is there now, but it might be all too late. Masteros, he's taken way too much damage, and he's out of mana. In fact, Jackie, he's gone as well. None of them have buyback. Onto Q, they'll get an ultra kill on mid one. Oh, what do you do now? There's a buyback on the line, but that's all you've got.
Radiant's middle barracks.
Tips out for Masteros.
Oh god.
And GG's called. That's it. 28 minutes in, SMG, they finish off game 2, and they are going to make their way over to the grand final. Jackie will still drop the 99, but this time around, he doesn't win the game. Motivate, they'll leave in third. SMG off to seek revenge against Boom Esports in the grand finals of the Pro Series Season 8.
Yeah, we'll see if that does pair off well for SMG. Of course, Motivate.Trust not quite finding what they want there. They do try something else with the Fearless Tinker. It doesn't really pan out. I think itemization was an issue, as we pointed out. The Maelstrom from Jackie after the Ags BKB just felt like it didn't really give him much forward presence. I suppose the Satanic would have taken too long at that point. Like, he knew he was really behind the game, but you still needed something to give yourself some room to breathe. And overall, I think Motivate.Trust just went a bit too greedy. With the off-lane Ember, with a mid-lane Tinker, along with a Gyro, so many heroes needed some initial farm. SMG did have an issue of holding down Masteros for a bit, but they did go Yulet's on Moon, and at some point they were landing the Requiems, so it was a bit easier to catch out that pesky Ember. And SMG, it looks like they were listening to yesterday's interviews. They heard FVZ, and they heard Fearless, and they are out to prove a point today. They're on fire.
Oh,
Well, it looks like they did have a big spoonful of MSG each just force-fed into them. Have it. Don't have it with food. Just have some MSG and get powered up to go into these games. And we'll have to see if Boom will kind of regret their words later on in grand finals.
Yeah, the bad news is, John, as much as I really wanted one, we're not going to have an interview. By the way, nice pog face as your camera's gone frozen again, but you were pogging for a moment there, John, and I did appreciate that. We aren't going to have an interview, which is a bit sad. As well, we do have the grand finals coming up. SMG obviously want to take a bit of a break before they do go into those grand finals against Boom Esports. So we're going to allow them to have their break, and if they win, I suppose we'll get the interview afterwards, and we'll get to ask some questions we may have had right now after this matchup against Motivate.Trust. But they've got to win, John. And against Boom Esports last night, it was a bit rough. Boom seemed to have their number. FBZ in particular did say he understands the weaknesses of this side of SMG. And I know he kind of corrected. He did say, I feel like we should say this, he did say he didn't mean to call them weak. He was trying to explain that he knew their weaknesses. But if you're SMG, you're still using that as motivation. I mean, you're still getting angry about that, John. You're not going to let that slide.
Absolutely. I think it was more that FBZ was trying to say, they're not weak, we're strong. I think that was his point. He was trying to say they were strong. So, the words chosen were a bit more ignited, right? Like much more hot. And we'll see again if SMG managed to kick that off. It looks like it has fueled the fire in them. We'll see if Boom's going to be ready to take it back here.
I can't wait to see it. We are going to head to a 30-minute break. So there is going to be a bit of a longer break between this series and the next. I'll put the timer up, of course, and hopefully, you never know. Both teams might want to start early, but I imagine they want to go have some merienda before they get started in this grand final. Till then, it is MLP Dota and the lovely johnxfire, and we're going to be back after a 30-minute break to see who does pull out the grand finals between Boom Esports and SMG.